Breaking news, Columbia Green Federal Credit Union just saved our member $105 a month on their car payment.
That's no surprise. CGFCU helps our members save thousands.
Wait, thousands?
Yep, we have fantastic rates and flexible terms.
We save our members by refinancing autos, boats, campers, and even credit cards.
Apply today, see how much you can save.
Hey, welcome back to the Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union. Now we're still about a week or so away from the upcoming fall sports season. We're actually, Monday starts a lot of the practices, so we'll be able to get out there and check out a lot of the different schools, different teams. But one of the big storylines this year is Cara Durham, Catskill merging for football. It should be a fun year to see just how they get together and what they do out there.
Absolutely, and they have a new coach. They just named a new coach recently.
New coach,
right?
Dan Hatch is going to be running the program. George Booters is there for a while with Cara Durham, but I think mixing everybody in, you have two schools, you want to kind of get a nice mix of coaches from both schools to handle both of those kids. They're going to be practicing up at Cara Durham. They're going to be playing up there. But there should be a decent amount of Catskill kids. I think they're excited to get going.
I'm very excited to see how this all works itself out because it's going to be fun. Catskill, as always, has a tremendous group of athletes, young athletes, mixed with the Caro kids. I mean, Caro has had a decent turnout. I mean, numbers are dwindling for football programs in high school all across the board, particularly at the smaller schools. But Caro has had decent turnouts. They've had over 20 kids. I know that doesn't sound like a lot compared to the old days when you get 30, 40 kids out for varsity football. But they had a few kids that come out and stayed with the program over the last few years. They haven't had a lot of success, but you sprinkle in some of the Catskill kids and some different philosophies, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what happens with this program.
Definitely. And Catskill has a really strong wrestling team, so it'll be interesting to see if a couple of those guys make their way over. They have Rich Forbes, who was went to the state tournament. George Hillenbrand's a younger guy. They have John Michael Diedrich, who's one of the 285 guys. So if you're looking for a lineman, you could probably pick a couple off of that wrestling team. So, definitely interested to see who comes out, who's playing, and just how they do. I think August 31st is the first set of football games that Friday.
Right, that Friday night.
Caro Catskill plays Coxsackie opening Saturday, so September 1st.
Right.
But before you know it, that's going to be here.
That's interesting, too, because, I mean, just about everybody has lights now. Down here in our area and up in the Albany area and beyond up north, most football games now, high school-wise, are Friday nights. So it's nice to see that there's still some Saturday afternoon games out there. So get out there and watch Caro Durham, Catskill play. And interesting to see, too, we're going to find out if they change the nickname or what they're going to do. I mean,
sometimes
when teams kind of morph together, they take on a variation of their team's nickname, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think
Mustang Cats.
There you go. The Rider Hawks, I think, was
for Ichabod Hudson
for a while there. So
the Titan Hawks for Taconic Hills and Hudson Wrestling past few years. So it's interesting to see. Maybe they'll probably stay with Mustangs, but we'll see.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun. That's another interesting little sidelight to the Catskill Caro Durham football merger.
And football in general is going to have quite a bit. I mean, Hudson is going to have a solid team. Chatham is always a pretty good team. Taconic Hills was young the last couple of years, but they have some guys coming back. They should be a really good team this year. So across the board, Coxsackie, also a young coach last year, but now he has a year under his belt. And Patty Bailey. So coming down the line, I think this area, the football teams, we don't have a lot of football teams, but they all should play pretty well.
Well, I had a chance to talk to a Hudson coach, John Davey, a while back about the Hudson High Blue Hawk football team. They went to the Ravenna tournament. It was supposed to be a 5-day tournament. They had to cancel the last day on a Friday because of heavy rains and thunder and lightning and all that. But the 4 days they got in there, they put in some good work, did a lot of good things, and he said he's excited for the upcoming season. They did lose some key players from last year's team and that played a couple of years ago on the team when they got to the Section 2 championship game against Glens Falls. But still has some young kids coming up from a JV team. Very small JV team last year in terms of numbers, but they didn't lack for talent. So some of those kids are moving up, and some of the holdovers mixed together. You're gonna have a nice little team. Now, 2 years ago, some of these JV kids played on that team that finished 8-1. Their only loss coming in the season finale to a very good Glens Falls team, 18-12. So I think you see some of those kids mix in with the holdovers and create a very, very nice program, as you could expect for Hudson. Like they say, they don't rebuild, they reload. And I think that's going to be the case this year. They're going to have another really good year. They get some good talented kids coming back, and we'll see what they do with the quarterback situation. Charles Goodermote played there last year. He's been talking about maybe moving out to wide receiver. He's such a versatile athlete. He could play anywhere on the field and excel. But you got Corey Topple, who played a few years ago on the varsity as a quarterback. He might take over that helm of the quarterback situation himself. So we'll see. A lot of interesting storylines coming into high school football practice. And as you mentioned, Chatham, they had a nice little camp themselves with Connor Kills and I believe Ichabod Crane or Pittsfield, I'm sorry, in Taconic High of Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And always very beneficial to these teams to get together and see what you have, in the early going. Sometimes you don't have all of your kids that you're going to have in the fall playing, or competing in these camps during the summer, but still you have enough kids coming out to play and that you can see, okay, this is what we're going to have, just a brief little preview of the upcoming season. So, a lot of good talent around in our area, and I can't wait to see it in action.
Yeah, me too. And football is always tough because it seems like it's one of the most complex games in terms of
so
learning, and such a short time span to learn it. And they start official practices on August 13th. Your first game is the 31st. So you have about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks of practice time, and there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of guys to get up to speed and get going. So it's tough, but I think that our teams in the area are definitely up to the challenge.
And the thing is, I mean, even before the season opener, the week before they have scrimmages. 4-way scrimmages for the most part for some of these teams. So you basically get 2 weeks of practice. And if that's why it's imperative that coaches will tell you to stay in shape, in football playing shape, even if you don't come to the camps and compete. But the off-season workouts are so important because when you come to camp, you've got to hit the ground running. You got 2 weeks, then you play a scrimmage, and then basically after that you have to prepare for your first week's game, and it's going to be tough for some of these kids, that are coming out for the first time. But hey, it's all good.
That's
It's going to be a great year. One of my favorite times of the year, the fall sports season.
Absolutely. Moving on to Columbia Green, we have a bit of a loss over there. And the athletic director, Richie Lindo, is stepping down. She's taking a new position somewhere else. And quite a big loss for the college because she's implemented a lot of different programs over there the last couple of years that she's been in charge. Women's basketball came back. She was instrumental in this whole summer basketball league with a lot of the high schools got into also the last few years, and that's become a big thing with not just the area, but also Socrates has a couple teams, FDR has a couple teams, and then she's was making a push to bring women's soccer back also. So she's definitely for the students, trying to get as many activities going as possible, and we were at the women's basketball when they went to the playoffs. Just tried to turn it into a really fun atmosphere with games and everything during the breaks and a lot of things going on. So I think Columbia Green's going to miss her when she's taken off the end of, I think, August 10th actually is going to be her last day.
Columbia Green's definitely going to miss her. We're going to miss her. She was instrumental in helping us with so many things. So many times things happen at the college, and with a small staff that we have, I mean, we can't be everywhere and know what's going on at all times without the help of athletic directors, and she's one of the top shelf. I mean, she's one of the best. She would always, get in touch with us, whether by phone or through an email, just something to let us know, hey, look, there's going to be a signing for the basketball team on Monday, or we're trying to implement this program, or we're trying to start up a volleyball program, things like that. She was just always on top of things. And as you mentioned, with the summer basketball league, the Columbia Green Summer Basketball League, she was so big with that and instrumental in getting that off the ground and keeping it going and running smoothly. Always well staffed these games, and we're definitely going to miss it, Richie.
Definitely.
Best of luck. We're going to miss you.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck. Now, another person we should say good luck to is Donovan Meyer over at It's Kind of Kills. I think he might be going into his senior year or junior year, but 16-year-old kid, the youngest baseball player in the Hudson River Collegiate Baseball League that plays over in Hudson. He's in the final tryouts. He's passed through the first 2 stages, so he's going into the final tryouts for the U17 Team USA baseball team, which is a big deal. I mean, that's for the whole country, 17 and under. So Donovan, definitely good luck to him getting through that final tryout and making the team.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not just some travel team that he's trying out for. This is a big-time team.
Team USA.
And you can see just the progression that he's made in his high school career. He's just gotten steadily better, and he's a worker. He works hard at it, and as they say, it may sound corny to some, but that hard work pays off. Hard work and talent together, There's no stopping him, and he's
Definitely.
doing really well. And we wish him all the best because that's a big deal. Nice feather in his cap for sure.
Absolutely. In a couple of weeks, he goes down to North Carolina to have that final tryout. We have to talk to him a little more and find out what actually goes into Team USA. If you're in high school, you're going to be playing in high school. Do you practice with these guys? Are you flying into tournaments wherever they play? So it'll be interesting to see how that works.
When you break it down, you think about this. I mean, this is not just the best players in the area. This is the best players in the country.
Not
in that age group.
The
I mean,
Northeast.
That's a tremendous honor and well deserved and good on him. And speaking of Taconic Hills, how about the Taconic Hills Little League?
Yeah,
some of you played in just a few years ago, just a few years. But good on them. They won the Section 2 South AAA tournament championship. Now, what the AAA tournament is it's a tournament for little leagues that don't compete in the Little League International tournament.
Yeah, they're not going to be going to
Williamsport.
Exactly.
That Little League International, that's the big one that you see on TV with all the kids, trying out and playing, for the chance to get to the college or the Little League World Series. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but so the AAA tournament is an option for those teams that don't compete in that, and Taconic Hills won not only in the 9 and 10 or the 8 and 10 year old age bracket, they won the 10, 11, 12 bracket as well for Section 2 South. They both won the championship by beating Albany National, which is a big little league up in the Albany area. So great for them. I mean, the coaches did a great job. The kids did a great job.
Yeah.
It's a nice little feather in their cap as well.
Absolutely, and there'll be, again, a new group of guys coming up to Taconic Hills. If they all stay in that area, keep playing the game, you could have a tough team come 3-4 years down the road.
Well, they say, it's not just the talented kids, which they certainly have an abundance of out there right now. I mean, nice group coming through, and it is interesting to see them, as they move along, up the ladder, JV, modified JV, varsity. But they have a great group of coaches out there, a great group of parents that really, work with their kids and care about what's going on in the league, and they show up whether they're on the road up in Albany or they're home playing at the Clovertown Park. They come out en masse. I mean, and they cheer on the kids whether they win or lose, and in that tournament they didn't lose. I mean, so had a lot to cheer about. But yeah, so that like I say, it takes a village. You got good talent, a couple of good coaching, and good parental support. Hey, sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's it. So next week we'll get to see a couple of these teams in action going forward. They're going to get out there and practice. We'll
hopefully
be out
talk
there,
to some of the coaches.
Talk to some of the coaches, see who's coming back, who's new, and kind of get some expectations for the upcoming season with a little clearer picture of what's going to be going down.
Looking forward to that.
Absolutely. So we'll see you next week on the Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union.